Good morning. It is not even 8 o'clock yet, and I am up slicing up peppers to freeze them, and I thought that you might like to see what I do to freeze peppers. Now, these were given to me by a friend, and I had some red ones there in the freezer now, but they were a variety of color, and it was just something that they grew. And I like to slice them and freeze them because most of the time I use peppers sliced up in different dishes, and it's just easier to freeze them and have them ready. So I'm going to show you what I do, and it's early, so I'm not going to put myself on camera this time. Sorry, guys. But let me just show you what I do, because these are a little odd shaped. You can see they're long, and so I'm going to show you how I slice them and get them ready for freezing and package them up. Okay? So the first thing I'll do is I'll take my pepper and I'll slice the top off. Okay? And normally I do this over a trash can, but it's just not convenient to show that to you. So I'm going to do it over my plate here and show you how I take it apart. So then I'll slice down the side here. And this, you know, I didn't grab any particular knife. I just grabbed one of the knives out of my cupboard. And then I sometimes slice the end off. It really just depends on what shape the end is in. And of course, when I open it up, it looks like this. I have all the seeds inside of it. So one thing I like to do is I like to take a spoon. And first thing I'll do is just grab the main seed pod out. But I like to have the inside of mine really scraped clean. Now, not everybody likes it that way or takes the time to do that. If I had a ton of these, I probably wouldn't take the time to do it, but I just have a few. So because it is my preference, I will take it and pull the rest of those insides out until they're nice and clean. And of course, like I said, normally I do it over the trash can, so I don't have it all sitting here, but this is just for you, so I'm going to show you how I do it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I kind of have to hold it flat, and I'll just slice down the edges. And if I had one that was really bendy, which I'll show you here in a second, I might not hold it out flat like this. I might do it a different way. But I'm just going to go ahead and slice this into whatever size I want to slice it. And then I'm going to put it over here on my pile. Okay? Now let me show you one that's turned. Like this one right here is really turned. You can see that's kind of curled around itself, right? So again, I'll still take the top off. I'll still take the end off a little bit, and I'm going to slice down the side, excuse me. So when I slice down the side here, I'm still going to pull out the inside like I normally do. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging to take those insides out. But, you know, you might even need to break it up a little bit. This one kind of broke apart as I took it. Not all of them do. Some of them actually pull apart a little bit nicer. But then I'm just going to scrape the inside out like I did with the other one. Okay? Once I scrape the inside out, and it's a little bit more challenging when it's curled, of course, I'm going to lay down the flat part. This part broke off, but it doesn't really have anything on it. If I was over the trash can, it'd be a little bit neater. And then I'm going to, what I normally do is I'll cut it off in sections. So that part will be easy to slice and this part will be easy to slice. So then I'm going to take and cut down in my sections the long slices that I'm looking for. Now, you can keep the short slices. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. If I feel like it's worthwhile, I will. It doesn't have to be perfect and pretty every time, but I do like it to look, you know, fairly clean and neat, because, you know, when you have kids, if anything looks funny, they won't necessarily eat it. Now, my children are older, so they will, but, you know, you get in the habit when your children are younger to try to make sure you have good things, otherwise they won't eat it. And, you know, you often think to yourself, too, is there not a good purpose in that? Because maybe if there's something funny, maybe that's a good instinct for them not to eat it. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that they're safe. So, there's the last of the curled up one. So here's my plate. This is not all of them. Like I said, I still have some to do, but let me show you what I have in my freezer. So I just took this out of my freezer, and this is the top, if you can't tell, of a broiler pan. And all I did was I put some slices and I kind of spread them out a little bit so they had room to freeze without touching another. And like I said, I did my red ones first just because I have issues that way. But anyway, I spread them out, I let them freeze, put them just straight in my freezer on top of everything else. And now what I'm gonna do is take all of those shreds and put them inside a zipper bag, okay? And that is gonna help me to have shreds ready to go whenever I need to cook. So once I take and put all of these in my freezer bag, these are gonna go in my freezer and be ready to use next time. Okay, so now I have my broiler pan top all completely clear. This bag right here is completely full. I'm gonna put that in the freezer, but before I do, I'm gonna get this pan ready. I'm gonna take these green shreds that I just did and spread them out on the pan here. And that way we can get our next group freezing while I work on cutting the slices of the rest of the peppers, okay? Now, this can be as neat or as messy as you want it. It's not that they shouldn't touch at all. You just kind of want to give them mostly enough room to freeze without being one on top of the other. It just helps. Like, I have frozen onions this way. I have frozen, oh my soul, celery this way. I definitely do celery quite a lot because celery is one of those things when we buy it, we don't necessarily use it all. Just about anything you can freeze slices of zucchini and squash. We've frozen this way. So it just depends on how you're going to use it, obviously, because zucchini is one of those things that doesn't always freeze well for every purpose. But if you freeze with zucchini often, then you kind of know the things that you can use it in. So anyway, I've got my plate clear. Plate's all clear, and this is full. So I'm gonna go put this in the freezer. I'm gonna put it in the freezer along with this, and we'll have our next batch ready to go. One thing I would like to add that we usually leave the strips of peppers in the freezer for probably about a half hour. But you just wanna wait until they're mostly frozen, and then you can throw them in the bag. Now, I don't have a ton of freezer space. So one of the great things about my method for grocery shopping, and I'll link up at the top on an iCard if you are wondering about how I grocery shop. But one of the great things about the way that I grocery shop is I do it every 2 weeks and I'm constantly rotating things out. So even though I don't have a ton of freezer space, this just means that I'm not gonna buy many fresh peppers if I have the frozen peppers already in my freezer. You know, I'm not gonna buy something if I already have something else I can use for. Now, this does not have anything to do with my long-term storage. If you've read anything that we're doing, you know that we are trying to build up our long-term storage this year, and that is canning and freezing. But the thing is, and dehydrating too, we don't have a big freezer yet. It's one of our goals. Until we get a big freezer, I don't have the opportunity to save too much at one time. So I am just going to continue to rotate these out in our freezer as we can. But we do a pretty good job of making sure that we keep the things that we need on hand. So generally speaking, I don't run out of peppers because I use them all the time. And I can usually find a pretty good sale on them, at least enough to keep me in peppers for whatever it is I need that I'm cooking. And of course, my favorite dishes that have peppers in them are my vegetarian chili, which I might even make some of that tonight. And my paella. I really love paella. Those are some really great dishes that I enjoy that use these peppers or any peppers. Anyway, this is a really good way to make sure that you're not losing any of the produce that you buy, because if you're like me, occasionally, I don't do it too often, but I think everyone does it from time to time, you buy something and it just sits in your fridge and it starts to rot before you can use it. But I have gotten to where if I see that I have something in my fridge that's starting to rot, I will start to slice it up and freeze it and put it in bags for future use. And of course, if there's something that I can't freeze or doesn't freeze well, then those things I will use first, and the things that I can freeze I will save for later. So this is just a thought. I hope it helps you to be able to save your produce and to make better use of your grocery money. Anyway, this is Amanda from the Fundamental Home, and I will see you very soon with more tips and tricks to help you save on your grocery budget. You guys have a great 4th of July weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye!